You should be able to recall those remedies whenever you want. That means they have to be on the tip of your tongue and your brain. So the exam consists like this. After 3 months of studies or preparation, not only preparation, but seeing patients and all that, and of course the classes to go on. After 3 months, there were five examiners who were sitting in front of me, and I was sitting in front of them, of course. I mean, I was given a seat, and the five were there. So this they are supposed to shoot at you with questions, continuous questions. So that's what did happen, and they started asking me different questions. Of course, it was limited to this 30 polygraphs, and I was answering them quite successfully. And then one person said, "Okay, I'm sure you are good at polygraphs. I mean, you have done your studies well, but now I want you to speak for half an hour on causticum." Now, to speak for half an hour on causticum, that means to give a lecture on causticum. And that was the most difficult part because you couldn't talk just that causticum is a great remedy, causticum is a good remedy for paralysis, causticum is a remedy for, first class remedy for joint pains, causticum is a remedy for arthritis. You just can't talk like this. I mean, you have to be convincing because the homeopaths who are sitting in front of you, they are good, they are very good, they are experienced. So that's what I did. I spoke for half an hour on causticum, and I came out in the first exams. I came out in bright colors. Now, why I'm talking about all these things is because that was that was a precondition of the exam. It was not written exam. What we do is we write down all the subjective lines. It was not that. How you apply the materia medica, how do you apply the materia medica to the patient is the most important part whenever we talk about a good homeopath. How we apply the materia medica. Most of them we get confused, and then because of the confusion, because of the confusion, we sometimes are afraid to give only one medicine, or we may end up giving multiple medicines, multiple remedies to a patient, and we also don't know which remedy has helped him. So here that was and the examiner pattern was such. If I would have failed in that exam, again next week I was able to give another exam. And every week, because I had completed my terms of 3 months, so every week I could recall these five examiners and give my exam. But fortunately, in the first attempt, I could clear PG home, and that has helped me immensely whenever I give a lecture or whenever I teach in the college or whenever I treat my patients. Now, after that, I came to Kolhapur. When after I came to Kolhapur, then I had an opportunity or I had a stinch of working with Dr. Jugal Kishore, the world famous homeopath in Delhi. So I went to Delhi, worked with Dr. Jugal Kishore, and it was a wonderful time, of course. So when I worked with Dr. Jugal Kishore, I could apply my knowledge of Mater Medica thoroughly because these 30 remedies was my backbone, was my backbone. So when I came back to Kolhapur, as I have earlier told you, before London, I was in Switzerland and I was practicing therapeutic massages and medicinal baths in a cancer hospital. So I was an expert in this therapeutic massages and medicinal baths. Therapeutic massages are the massages given for any pain. Any pain has to be treated with a massage. And massage is the first line of treatment human being has ever received uh, in his life. I'll say why. Naturally, you will ask me why. Well, I can repeat it. First line of treatment human being ever received. How is it? Because the moment we started crying as an infant, our mothers or parents or the family members, they patted us, they made us to sleep, they moved their hand on her back and body, and that nothing but it is the nothing but massage. So it's the first line of treatment. Even in animals, they lick each other. The mother licks the small cubs, and that is a massage she is giving. So that's the first line of treatment you ever receive. So here, when I came to Kolhapur, Kolhapur has got a lot of there's one royal family that is the Chhatrapati of Kolhapur, and then the Jagirdar families, so which are supposed to be a sort of small kings of their different Jagirs. These Jagirs can consist of more than 40,000 acres in those days. The 40,000 acres of land in one Jagir, and these were the Jagirdars. So one Jagirdar family, one lady was treated by my father, and she couldn't walk. Her problem was she had developed osteoarthritis in her knees. But she had her helpers because they were well-to-do people, and she had her helpers. She could be taken to the toilet. She could change their sari and all that. There were three, four ladies who used to help her. They used to carry her around in a in a wheelchair whenever she wanted to go. They used to dress her up. They used to give her a makeup also because she was very particular that she was always well made. She was wearing proper sari and her face used to look good. So one fine day, every day I used to go to massage, and she was feeling better. But I had never given her any homeopathic medicine. So here one day she was holding one picture. So I asked her, Masai, what is it? And she said that, well, this picture, what you see, is of my younger days when the one British photographer had clicked it and he put it in a exhibition and he had named it Indian Mona Lisa. She was really looking pretty. She was looking gorgeous. This lady who was almost 75, 80 years old, she was looking gorgeous in that picture. So I said, Masai, my God, you are a beauty. She said, yes. I was a beauty. I am a beauty. I would like to die as a beauty. I said, I don't understand, Masai. What do you want to say? So she bought a mirror. One of her helpers, they bought her a mirror. And she said, look at this. There are two warts on my face. There are two warts on my face. And your father says that they have to be cauterized. If the warts have to be removed, they have to be cauterized. And there will be dark spots on my face because of the cautery. He says, I don't want to go and undergo cautery. I said, then what do you want? She says, my dear Ravi, even if I walk, it is no problem because I have four ladies who will look after me. They lift me up, they'll take me anywhere I want to go. So even if I don't walk, it's not a problem. But I can't die, looking ugly. I don't want these two warts on my face. I want to look good. When I die, I want to look good. Now look at this sensitiveness of causticum. Now I'm just telling you a story of a typical causticum patient who used to look after her helpers also like her own children. She was highly sympathetic. She was helping them, their families. She had given them four houses to stay so they could come and help her anytime they wanted, when she wanted, and all that. So, but she was a highly sensitive lady, this lady, and she said that I don't want to die looking ugly. I want to die looking good. Now, at the age of 75, 80, the lady is thinking like that. Those days, she used to pay me 1,000 rupees per week, and 1,000 rupees was a big amount. I'm talking about 1986. So 1,000 rupees was a big amount that time. So here, and she was showing me because Maruti, I think Maruti car was costing around 60,000 rupees that time. So here, she was showing me her face. So I realized that why not try homeopathy? And I went through different books and of course the repertory. And what's on the face, the remedy, uh, three number, the first number remedy is causticum with 3 marks. So I just tried causticum. I tried causticum and the warts just vanished. They just fell off. She also didn't know when the wart fell off. And when she saw that the warts had fallen down, she gave me a silver glass, a pure silver glass. She presented me a silver glass. Why? Because she said that, well, she still looks very beautiful. Now, when we talk about causticum here, this lady, typical lady of causticum, when we talk about her, remember, my dear, there is one character in Mahabharata called Karna, Maha, uh, Maharati Karna, or also known as Danshul Karna. Now, when Karna was warned by his father, this God, the sun god, that tomorrow Indra, the father of Arjun, is going to come in the base of a Brahmin, and tomorrow he is going to ask you for your Kavach Kundal. So beware, tomorrow don't go to the river and don't offer anything. But Karna says, no, it's my tradition. I go to the river and I'll ask, Kun Yachaka Heka, is there someone who wants some help from me? And without turning back, Karna knew that his Kavach Kundal, the thing which was having his armor on the body, will be asked has to be donated. But still he asked, without looking back, he said, "Un yachak hai ka? Is there anyone yachak? Koi aaya hai kya? Daan मांगने के लिए?" And when the Indra in the base of a Brahmin, a poor Brahmin, he says, "Yes." He says, "What do you want?" He says, "I want your Kavach and Kundal." So Kavach and Kundal, how to remove Kavach? Kavach is a armor. You can't put a dagger on the body and tear it. No. So he took his lips, put a dagger inside, and he pulled out all the skin and gave it to that Indra. And he said, "I know who you are because my father had warned me yesterday itself. But when you have asked me for a dan, I have given you dan. And people who receive dan are always holding their hands down, and people who give dan are holding their hands up. And so I am a winner today." So here, why am I telling you the story? Then of course Arjun gave him a boom. He says, "What do you want?" He says, "Please make myself as beautiful as ever because I'm bleeding all over. Though I don't have the kavach and kundal, but I should look like I'm having one." So he gave the boon and Karna regained his beauty and all that. So here, what I'm trying to tell you is, or what I'm trying to insist is that he was highly sympathetic, sympathy for others. Same with causticum. Causticum is so sensitive, so sensitive. If you go and plead with causticum, though she may be having very less money, but whatever she will have, she or he'll give it. He'll just give it back. I mean, they're highly sensitive. And the most worst part of causticum is whenever they have this joint pains below, the paralytic weakness below, or paralysis below, whatever it is, paralysis, paralytic weakness, joint pains, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, in all these conditions, there's a great hopelessness. There's a great hopelessness. The causticum patient feels that she or he is not going to get better at all. There's a great hopelessness. This hopelessness, that condition of hopelessness, makes the patient worse because if you don't have the will to get well, then it is very difficult for a doctor also. Maybe he must be a good doctor, but if he doesn't know the mentals of the way we homeopaths take, so though if he doesn't know the mentals, how to determine the remedy because they don't know, they only treat on the physical level. So here we excel because we treat the patient mentally and physically. The causticum, as I told you, is highly sensitive and sympathetic. And secondly, there is a great hopelessness that is set in. So here, causticum says, "Well, I'm not going to get well. So all these things, and please donate my whatever treasure I have, whatever money I have, whatever gold I have. I give it to you. I give you this. I give you that. I give my daughter this and my brother this." So all this because of sympathetic donations he can make. So here it is a typical causticum because of hopelessness he can do it. Now, when we talk about causticum, one of the few very strong characteristic symptoms of causticum is basically a right-sided remedy. There are three strong right-sided remedies. One is causticum, one is apis, and one is lycopodium. So right-sided remedy बोले तो it starts the symptom normally start from the right and go to the left. Now, causticum is having paralysis. Yes, it can be a paralysis of the part. It can be a paralysis of group of muscles like jalsemium. It can be a paralysis of half the body, and it can be a paralysis of a, a organ also. A organ also. Now, here is an example where if there are any of my Muslim friends who are listening to this lecture, they should know that it is a very pious place called Ajmer Sharif, where the where the Muslims who cannot afford to go to Makkah or Hajj, it is said that if you cannot afford to go to Makkah, at least go to KGN. KGN is Khwaja Garib Nawaz. Uh, Khwaja Garib Nawaz, Sheikh Muhyiddin Chishti, that is Ajmer Sharif. Now, Ajmer Sharif is supposed to be so holy place that you get the same punya or same blessings of, in case you can't go to Hajj, at least if you go to what I told you, if you go to Ajmer Sharif, you are supposed to get the same blessings or the same, it is equally pious. So here, even as per the history, Akbar Badsha was born because the blessings of Sheikh Muhyiddin Chisti. So Akbar Badsha also was born because when not Akbar Badsha, Jahangir was born because of blessings of Sheikh Muhyiddin Chisti. Because Akbar didn't have a son and he wanted a son, so he was praying frantically to Sheikh Muhyiddin Chisti, and then Akbar was up and Jahangir was born, Salim. So that's why Raja Garib Nawaz Sheikh Muhyiddin Chisti Salim, that the name was Salim, Jahangir's name. So here, why I'm telling you this, my friend, one of from the college there those days, they had gone with the family to by train to Ajmer for this Urus, this big festival called Ajmer Festival. Or so here they had gone. While coming back, they didn't have a reservation, and they were forced to travel in an unreserved compartment. So there were people, so much crowd in the trains. North India, if you travel in the train, only then you realize what the trains are in North India. So there's all chaotic, chaos, full chaos in there. There's reservation ho and reservation no. People just come and sit there and they won't move. That's it. So they can be very rude sometimes if you go to North India. Comparatively, Maharashtra and South, we are quite more disciplined than what those people are. So here, the place where she could manage to sit somewhere, and while coming back, though she was wanted to go to the urination, but people are sitting in the urinal also. The train was so much crowded, everywhere it was crowded, and she had to hold a urine. So when she came to Mumbai, as soon as landed at the station, she went to the toilet and she couldn't urinate because of the excessive strain of the bladder. The bladder had gone into the sphincters had gone into paralysis, and she had to be catheterized and the urine had to be removed. So she couldn't urinate. So anything you go when any organ when you put through excessive strain, then causticum comes in. Causticum comes in because causticum can be there can be dribbling of urination also because of the paralysis, or there can be complete closure of the sphincters where you just can't urinate. There is no urine which comes out. Though you strain, it won't come out. So here it is a typical case of causticum where this my friend who had been to this Ajmer Sharif, she couldn't urinate. So this because of the excessive strain. Same thing happens in the voice also. You will realize the causticum loss of voice due to straining the voice. Some people shout, if there's some function in the college or some match, and you keep on cheering, shouting, and next you realize you have lost your voice. Complete loss of voice or portion of the voice due to excessive straining. So anything when you do excessive straining, we think of causticum. Then we have, as I told you, causticum. The modality of causticum is again very important. That is the weather modality. The most of us, we all, I am sure, most of us, we all enjoy winter the best because winter is clear, fine weather. आप पतंग भी उड़ा सकते हो, आप पिकनिक्स को जा सकते हो, ट्रेकिंग को जा सकते हो, and so on and so forth. So you have a wonderful time during winter, and for me, winter season is my favorite because I, for no reason, I sweat. Now also I'm sweating. So here, winter, I don't sweat. So probably I enjoy winter very much. But causticum is a remedy which is aggravated during winter, better during damp, warm weather. Damp, warm weather is what you have in the place, all the coastal line like Mumbai and so on. So these places where they have a damp, warm weather, causticum is better and worse during clear, fine weather or dry, cold weather. Dry, cold weather, causticum is always worse. And that's why you'll find a lot of people get hoarseness during winter, people who suffer from winter during winter or weakness during winter. That's why causticum, the weakness during winter is again, you'll find weakness of the bladder. Here I'm talking about a bladder because sometimes you may blow your nose or you may sneeze or you may cough. So all these three reactions where forcefully the air is drawn out from the lungs. So suddenly there's the diaphragm which is to be pushed up, and then when you sneeze or when you blow the nose or when you cough, the suddenly the diaphragm is pushed up, and here you can have urination. You can pass urine because of suddenly, I mean, suddenly because of sneezing. So dribbling of urination or passing of urine, involuntary urination during sneezing, coughing, or blowing the nose. So we all have this in causticum where because of weakness of the bladder, weakness of the bladder. That's why, like Piparsal, causticum is also having perpendicular urination. Same thing happens because I thought that this is only a subjective symptom. When I treated one Jawan in the military camp, when Jawan, a fit fellow, Jawans have to be fit because they are fit, we are alive. If our Jawans were not fit, China would have swallowed us long time back. So these Jawans have to be very fit. So one fit, this fit fellow came to me and he says that he is having obstinate constipation. I said, why? What happens? He says, well, how much I try, I cannot pass stools. Even if I strain, and because of straining, I develop piles, I develop hemorrhoids. Or sometimes I feel that there's a stricture of my rectum. Rectum has gone into tight stricture or spasmodic contraction of the rectum. That's why I cannot pass stools. But he says, but I can pass stools when I stand up. Now, I thought this was only a subjective symptom, but when I heard this symptom, I gave him causticum, and he was so happy. He gave me a bottle of rum, good, good rum you get in an army station. So he gave me a bottle of rum, and happy that he could pass his stools twice a day at least without straining. So this is what causticum is. So here it is a rectum again. I will call it an organ of the gastrointestinal system because rectum is the place where the muscles have to contract. And if the rectum is have gone to a paralytic state, then with the gravity the stools have to come out, and that's why he has to stand up and pass the stools. That's causticum. Then when we talk about the from top to the bottom, I'll come again to the eyes where they can be one of the remedies like Jalsimium. Causticum is also a remedy for myasthenia gravis. Now, what is myasthenia gravis? That is the upper eyelids have to be upper eyelids have to be kept. I mean, it's difficult to keep the eyelids open. They just droop down, drooping of the eyelids, and because again it is a paralytic condition. But in case it is during Jalsemium is more of a thunderstorm or during monsoons, but causticum is dry cold weather. So here the modality differs. That's why both remedies can be differentiated if you find the origin or the month of origin where these problems have started. So here, drooping of eyelids, and because of drooping of eyelids, you have to. It's difficult to keep it open, or sometimes they can be paralysis of the optic nerve. You can just lose in a vision, or they can be paralysis of the auditory nerve, where you can't hear. So here, all these things. Then I have found causticum is one of the most wonderful remedies with the loss of smell and loss of taste. Loss of smell and loss of taste. Remember, my dear friends, जो मुंह नाक नहीं सूंघ सकता वो मुंह क्या खाएगा, और जो मुंह को टेस्ट नहीं लगेगा वो बेचारा कितना भी भूख लगे तो क्या खाएगा. So here again it is directly connected, because of the senses, our we feel like eating something good food and good, you have a good appetite also. So here, loss of smell, loss of taste. Then the tongue also can be, there's a tendency of biting the tongue while eating or chewing, because biting the tongue, bole to, the tongue has no control on itself, or they can be very difficult, some words to pronounce, or they can be pronounced uh, intermittently, because the words can be exchanged. Your tongue becomes heavy, like in Jalsamim again. So here it is the biting of the tongue or biting of the cheek. Now cheeks are a natural guardian of the mouth, of course, and whenever we eat, the cheeks they just uh, are pulled out. But here, biting of the cheeks, or sometimes if you are trying to swallow food, it will go into the larynx and you will have a cough. So here again, the food goes into a wrong passage and there can be a cough. Then very weak cough, very difficult to bring out the mucus, the phlegma, the mucus, very weak cough. He knows that if he has a stronger cough, he can bring out the mucus. So here it resembles mostly to antim-tart, where antim-tart also is having a weak, difficult expectoration and when weak cough. Same with causticum, but antim-tart is having the whole. It is the fluid levels are very high in the lungs, and you can hear the rattling in the chest, or also known as death rattling in the chest. Causticum, you know, there's a cough, there's a mucus in the throat. It's trying to bring it out, but then ultimately has to swallow it because it cannot bring out the mucus. So here again, we think of causticum whenever I mean the food. I mean the cough is very weak. When the cough is very weak, we can think of causticum again. Yeah. Now this lady, as I told you, this Rani of this Jagirdar, after giving causticum, in 8 days' time, she was walking unaided inside the house. Now here, what happens? Causticum is a remedy for stiffness of the muscles. Now, when does the stiffness set in? Stiffness is nothing but a guard of the body. Whenever there's a pain, whenever there's a pain, you remain motionless. Whenever you remain motionless, the muscles go into stiffness. When there is stiffness, there is more pain. More pain, more no motion. I mean, more rest. More rest, more stiffness. So it's a vicious circle. So here what you have to do is, when we give causticum, the stiffness reduces, then the motion starts. When the motion starts, the pain comes down. So here, because of stiffness, they can sometimes there can be a contraction of the muscles. When similar contractions, what you see in post-burn contractures, after the burns, you find this the whole thing becoming stiff like this. The post-burn contractures. So the remedy is causticum. It is again a remedy for, I mean, this for post-burn contractures. So that is a remedy for injuries or wounds. So my dear friends, I'm opening up the windows, and if you have any questions, you're free to ask.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, we know that causticum has a sympathy for the others.
Yes.
Yeah. So do we include sympathy for the person who worries about the world, like global warming हो रहा है, injustice हो रहा है, अत्याचार हो रहा है. The
Yes, yes,
person
yes.
who talks.
You're right, Sonal. Because Kaustikam is a very sensitive person, highly sensitive. When he is sensitive, he is concerned about the others as well as himself, and then of course there's a hopelessness in him. But then any external impression, he will have a sympathy, and he may go out of the way to solve that problem. You're right.
No, suppose a person who always talks about the global warming,
Hmm.
कि कचरा फेंक रहे हैं, प्लास्टिक फेंक रहे हैं, समुद्र में कचरा जा रहा है, उसकी वजह से he the person only talks about. So that is a causticum personality, or is a Naksomika who always find the problems in the situations around him.
No, my dear friend Sonal, we are talking about action speaks louder than words. Either बहुत सारे politicians they claim a lot of things, but they don't do
हाँ
anything. That is not
हाँ हाँ.
causticum. Causticum is truly sympathetic. That's why I gave you example of Karna. दानशूर Karna का example देने का वही मतलब था कि वो he knew.
कि उसका solution भी वो लाएंगे. They will involve in that situation, right, sir?
That's right. They will get involved.
They will do something good for the global warming.
That's right. That's right.
So that is a causticum personality.
Yes.
So he himself will involve during the problems.
Yes.
Or what problem he.
Yes. Yes. True. He will go out of the way and do it.
Okay. It's not only the thinking level, but physical level, on the solving level also he will be active participant.
He has to be, because it won't make him sit quiet.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Any other question? Dr. Mugdha, आप चुपचाप बैठी हो.
No, sir, no question.
No question. That means you haven't understood anything.
No, sir. You explained very well. That's why no questions.
Okay, fine. Yeah?
Okay, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Oh, one more. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I forgot. Pimples in bunches. Pimples in bunches. One bunch there will be 10, 15 pimples. That is also causticum.
So it's a
Means,
pustular or papular sort of.
Right. Bunches. They come in one after another. They will be in bunches, not single pimple. It is in bunches.
But with the pus?
With a pus, yes.
Okay.
Yeah?
pimples in bunches.
Multiple pimples,
Sir,
right?
sir, and injustice cannot support is also there, no, sir?
Sorry?
Injustice cannot support. He's so much sympathetic that he cannot. He will stand for someone.
No injustice, nothing. Shall I close it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.